that boy needs his father. Not a father figure, not a mentor. If that boy's father is alive, he needs his father. And too many times I hear women say, well, he's so-and-so, and he this, and he that. The harsh reality is there's something wrong with you too. There's something wrong with you too. Something that's going on with all of us. What's going on? It's Will Mike Craven. Coming to you another day with another video. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Like to leave a donation. The link and description is on the screen. Also lower in the description. With that being said, get right on into this. When it comes to sons, I know I hear a lot of females saying you need to send him to a mentor or some type of father figure, and it's generally everyone except his father. For some reason, women don't want to allow the father to be the father, which is kind of interesting because somehow or another me and my father got on this discussion, and I've heard him a lot of times throughout the course of my life having discussion with women about letting that boy be with his father, or for them to allow discipline to be in that boy's life. And I love the space I'm in. I love the time period I'm in as far as how it worked out with me having a son the same age as my father had me. I see so much that I did as a child, and so much that so much that I heard things that my father would say. And it makes so much sense because it lines up so perfectly. And what a lot of you women really need to understand is that boy needs his father. Not a father figure, not a mentor. If that boy's father is alive, he needs his father. And too many times I hear women say, well, he's so-and-so, and he this, and he that. The harsh reality is there's something wrong with you too. There's something wrong with you too. Something that's going on with all of us. But the beautiful thing I've learned in this life is that children teach you what's wrong with you still and what was wrong with you and how to improve and help them improve. That's what children teach you. So not allowing children to partake in the other parent's life, especially when it comes to son and the father, is detrimental. It is extremely detrimental, regardless of what it is that you were going through. You just simply can't replace that man, because that boy has his DNA and he's gonna do something similar. Like, yeah, that was the one thing that me and my dad were talking about, and he mentioned terrible twos, and then I said the stuff that my son at the current age, and I know it was like, well, my son didn't go through no terrible twos. I didn't experience none of that. Then he laughed and said, you know what? It's kind of interesting because you didn't either. He said, I had more of my issues with you when you were around 11. Well, he's like, not so much 13, 11, 13. It was a little there, but when you got a little bit older, 13, 15, well, there was a little bit more issue, but yeah, for the most part between those ages, which about the same currently with my son. And I've always said that, well, I haven't always said, but I learned some years back, well before I had my own son, about how men get stuck in puberty. And I really, really understand why that happens. And it has a lot to do with if the mother is too much involved and the father isn't. See, puberty is for boys to transition into men, where the testosterone is taking its manifestation. So there's a lot of things that boys are going through that they're transitioning to being a man. Now, all that stuff prior to that, they're dealing with their emotions and all this stuff, which they relate to women during that time period. But you halt that boy's growth, and what you do is you keep him trapped in puberty because he doesn't get the discipline and the proper teaching that he's supposed to get from his father. That has to happen every single day. And I understand this because I have a son of my own, and like I said, I was the same age my father is, and it is such a blessing to be in that type of privilege, to know what I did, some of the things I did, and to see them re-manifest itself, and to have full understanding of why that's going on, because I already experienced it. And I already tried to do some of that stuff. So when the rebellion takes place, or you're not listening, and it seems like there's a conflict of interest going on, I understand why I did that. A woman can't turn around and figure out or tell a boy why he's doing such and such, because you never went through the transition period of what puberty is for us. It's not the same for you all. So it's very imperative that that boy is with his father. You can stick him with another man all day long, but 9 times out of 10, the father is going to do some of the same things that that boy does or is doing, because the DNA is coming from him. It's going to be a whole lot of similarities. This is why when you are with your sons, or whenever they're doing something that is not conducive to where you want it to be done, he said, you act just like your father. Yes, I heard that term, and when I heard it as a child, it seemed very derogatory and demeaning in regards to my father and who I was as an individual, because the connotation was brought off or spoken in a negative manner. And when that statement alone right there is detrimental, especially if the child never fully understands what's going on. Like me, I was just fortunate enough to be like, I don't really care what you say, which I still kind of have that attitude now. I don't really care what you say. I'm going to do my own investigation, and I'm going to do what I do. Dance to my own drum and move how I'm going to move. You trying to knock me off that square or getting me to do such and such and such to manipulate, it don't fly with me. So that statement never really flied. And, times I got in trouble because I said something that I probably shouldn't have said to an adult. But saying that doesn't help. That doesn't help the boy either. So now, because of whatever's transpiring between you and the father, it's not like, well, wait a minute. What are you trying to say about me? And in some regards, some boys have hatred to their father because of statements like that. So now you're furthermore trapping them in puberty. So then you're wondering why you're in a relationship with a guy, and you say he acts like a little boy, It's 9 times out of 10, that same guy had one of the similar experience and he's still trapped in puberty. You got to let the man who is the father handle his business. Be the support. Will he get it right every single time? Probably not. None of us do. I don't get it right with my own son every single time. There are some times where he do something that frustrates the heck out of me. And I'm not happy about it. I mean, this is going to happen. We as parents are going to feel like that because we should want our children to be better than us. I know I do. I'm trying every single day to make sure that my son is 10 to 50 times better than I am. That's always my agenda. Every single day is for him to be better than me. Completely better than me. And not having to do some of the things that I had to do, but still learning a lot of the things that I learned, and then understanding, okay, you learned this even though you didn't have to fully experience it in full depth, but I put it in front of you so you would know it, so when it comes time that you see it, you can relate. See, these are things that as fathers we think of. We think of a lot of more things than you all do because we're centered and grounded around logic, those who have been raised by men and fathers. This is how we are centered. This is our foundation. It is not from an emotional place and an emotional state in which I can tell the difference between a male guy who was raised by a woman as opposed to a father. I can instantly tell. His emotional state is like the weather. Just like you all's emotional state is like the weather, his is like the weather. 1 minute it's raining over there, the next minute is windy, the next minute is sunny, the next minute is cold, the next minute is hot. All over the place. See it all the time. It's easy to spot. But unless you all are saying, okay, you know what? This is necessary. I'm not going to just simply go find a guy to help raise my son. I'm literally going to actually allow his father to raise him. Now, of course, I knew like, oh, well, he don't want to be involved in our tribe, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, that's unfortunate. It's not your job to make them, it's your job to present the opportunity. You can't force a grown individual, let alone any individual, to do such and such, that what they're supposed to do when they have the knowledge that they are supposed to be responsible. So I can't knock you on that. And if you do have to then resort to the fact of another guy being in the midst, that's a whole different ball of wax. But if that man wants to be involved with his children, and he actually is involved, whether it's weekend dad warrior, 1 day out of the week, 1 day out of the month, there is something there that's saying, okay, he's involved. Therefore, it should be involved a lot more. But we've bought into this notion of blended families, which it's really sad because the whole dynamic of children is all centered around the father, the man, being in place, having the tools of being capable of leading, which is leading himself in the right manner, which then trickles to the woman following him and offering the support and giving and creating all of the balance that's necessary, while the children are learning by osmosis, watching them both, as well as getting information because they're curious and they're going to ask questions. All this is sharpening iron. Each section of that is sharpening each other. It's necessary. But we can't get the type of men that we need simply because there's so many narratives being spun. There's so many, I want to do what I want to do. All my feelings is involved. I don't like him, or I can't stand her. When the whole time, children are like that. They're like that plant that's sitting there. It may look real to some, but it's fake. Doesn't have the full effect. Looks good, looks the par. It's going to serve its purpose, make a lot of people happy, make them feel a certain type of way. Oh, it's beautiful, and I love the decor, blah, 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 blah. But when it comes time to, all right, the bees that need to come by there and extract pollen for the world to do its thing and make it go in this revolving circle, everything needed the bees can't get that from it. It can't give off the oxygen necessary. It can't take in the CO2 necessary. That's what happens with children when they don't have that actual structure, the correct structure of both parents being there every single day. Because every single day you're going to see something. Every single day I see something with my son. Every day I see something. I see stuff I don't like. I see stuff that I do like. So imagine every time you come in contact with your child, or he gets to come in contact with his child, you only see them when they're doing something wrong. How will you know how much they do right? You don't. And if you only see them when they're doing things right because you create this Disneyland atmosphere to make it seem like it's just this wonderful utopia, you're not seeing the wrong that they do and to actually be capable of helping them in the other matters of their life. This is how we all become balanced. This is why children should be with both their parents, in which this is mainly about, telling you all women that the boy needs to be with his father as well, some kind of way. We got to get our relationships right. I mean, in order for that to happen, we have to have our relationships right. And there's a lot that's going to go into accomplishing that. There's just a lot. And there's plenty of places to start. But the harsh reality is, are we all humble enough to start at the bottom? You start talking about bottom, and then there's bottom feeders, and no one likes to be on the bottom. They want to be up here somewhere on the top. They want to be sitting on top of this table and not down there, because it looks like there's so much going on up here, and how it seems so beautiful to be up top, and whether on the bottom is dark and all this. You got to go through that grind. Are we capable of doing that in order to get our sons out from to get our sons to not be stuck in puberty? And by the time they get to a certain age, they're still doing puberty type things. I remember some of the stuff I did when I was in puberty. Grandma said we were mannish. Did things with the girls and did other things that just was like, oh boy, what are you doing? What is that? Very immature things, and yeah, this is why we're like, well, you ain't grow up, because the mentality of his mindset had him stuck in puberty. The only way not to get stuck in puberty is to be around your father. I'm like, oh yeah, you gotta. Yeah. Some guys, they may be able to come up to a certain level without their father, but they ain't gonna really see the full 100% potential of who they can be and what they should be, because there's so much you learn from your own father that enhances you. excuse me. That's the conversation I had today with my father. The stuff we were talking about was like, man, you know what? That makes sense. Oh, I see that. And he was saying the same thing on his end, like, man, yeah, I appreciate this conversation. He learning, I'm learning. We steady learning off each other. It's helping him improve as a man. It's helping me improve as a man. Every time, I so enjoy it. I would have never thought at any point in my life prior to this point in my life that I would actually enjoy having conversations with my father the way I do. Because there's always a moment of reflecting back in the past, and I love doing it because it's unlocking. Stuff is steady unlocking because it's like, oh, okay, well, you remember that. Oh, you grasp that. Oh, okay. Boom, now I'm going to say this. Now you add more pieces to the puzzle. But, oh, okay, well, yeah, that was that. Oh, well, cool. Yeah. Well, such and such and such and such. It's like, man, automatic growth is taking place. But if he's never with his father, or his father's, he's never getting to interact every single day with his father, those type of things are not going to happen. They can only happen with everyday interaction. It's the only way it's going to happen. And pride has to just get pushed aside. The pride has to get pushed aside. And we all get together for some reason, and we saw the good in an individual. We saw the good in them. That's why you ended up with them. There was something you liked. There was something they did that caused you to gravitate. Pulling out the bad so you don't send a son or boy to his father, it's more detrimental to the boy than it is to you, because he doesn't get to grow up having the fullness and capabilities of who he can be. You learn not to do certain things because you see certain things that tell you not to do them. It's like, oh, I don't like, okay, you don't like certain things about him. It may not register to that boy that way, because he's a male who's going to be a man. And then the things that may be wrong or whatever, he may come to the full understanding of why he did certain things. Like, there were some things I know my dad did. But you know, when we talk about that stuff now, it's like, because I fully understand having a son at the same age, it's like, oh, boom, boom, boom. Now I know why you did that. And then when we have that conversation, my dad actually gives me the reason why he did, which then makes total sense. It makes total sense. I understand how he processed that logically. And then I align it with my logic. Then I think about him like, you know what? Could there have been a better way to have done that? Or have done that? Considering the circumstances, and we may have that conversation. Do you think there was a better way you could actually done it? Oh, and he's like, oh yeah, there was always a better way I could have done it. Considering the circumstances, this is why I did it though. That's how we get better. As men, that's the best way for us to get better. The more tools we are capable of gaining. We get our tools from fathers. They're teaching us stuff. And if a boy's father is not allowed to teach him, number one, discipline. My dad taught me discipline when I was a child. And I can't say that I don't think I would have gotten any discipline from my mother. As good as my mother was with things, and she was a disciplinarian, far more than my father was. Nothing about what she did made me have discipline at all. At all. Nothing. Nothing. Because even with me sitting here thinking about it now, the things that I did and the things that I said, my mother would turn around and say, "You must think you my father." And even to this day, me being 42 years old, my mother still says the same thing. And it's actually worse now because I'm a man now. I'm like, yeah, your father dead. Who the heck think you think finna make sure you good? So if I act like your father, me being a father, what the heck you think? I came from you, I'm gonna make sure you good. So therefore, if you think I'm finna act like your father, or you say I act like your father, yeah, at this point, I don't care. Yeah, I am. I'm gonna make sure you good. And at this point, at your age, no, I do want you around here because the more you're around here, the more I'm learning. So the discipline, as far as being the discipline that I need to be as a man, I wasn't getting that from her. It's utterly impossible. And I'm sure it's a lot of dudes who see this and understand this part of what I'm saying here, who turn around and act in that manner where you think your son acts like he your father. He's not going to accept that type of discipline that you think you're going to get from him. Now, you may discipline him and he may turn around, all right, fall in line with whatever discipline, whether it's physical punishment or whatever that nature is, may fall in line with that. But he's not going to be disciplined in order to check his emotions. 9 times out of 10, most women are not that. They don't check their emotions. That's what we are for. That's what we come in for, to provide that security so that you're then like, all right, you know what? I'm going to check my emotions because my man is here and he going to handle it. That's how that works. So discipline comes from father. Yeah, I didn't mean to do that. Well, I shouldn't have done that. I meant to do it, but I shouldn't have done that, not thinking that the mic was there. My apologies if it made a thud sound and uncomfortable to the ears. But yeah, my father, yeah, that discipline. He said stuff I didn't like. My mother said stuff I didn't like, but it was not the same. It wasn't the same at all. There was just far more respect for my father because of how he handled me, which was totally different. Like nothing about my father when he handled me was this soft, oh, I'm finna have you in my bosom, and rubbing you all on your back and rubbing me all on my head and all that stuff. No, my mother did that. My father didn't do that. He grabbed me by the hand. We walked alone the way, wherever we were going. When we sit down, he sat down next to me, we had conversations, or he sat right on the other side of me. And it was rewards. His affection and all that stuff came from rewards. My mother's affection wasn't that way. It was a different type of affection, which is generally what females generally do. The father, even with my son, I give him rewards, and we're at this phase to where, all right, you earn this. You don't want to do this? Oh, okay, cool. Do I need to show you how the real world gonna treat you? You know, if you don't do this, you don't eat. You don't do that, you don't get this to be able to go buy that. Is that the discipline I need to show you? This is the kind of stuff that fathers do. Because at the end of the day, we are putting that boy in the position to be us, who's going to then turn around and handle his business with whether it's his mother, whether it's his grandmother, his wife, daughter, or whoever. He's already getting set in line to do that. And it comes from us. You're just gonna naturally do it. Ain't no, oh, well, I don't want to do so and so and so. No, that ain't how that go. No, a real man ain't finna do that. He ain't finna be sitting up on the couch doing this all day playing games. No, ain't none of that. No. You know, I've as old as I've become, the more I see, oh, I just bought him the game and he played the game. I see more females do that mess. When like you done went and bought him a game, now he set up and played the game all day, then you wonder why he ain't getting nothing done. My mother had no problem with me playing Sega Genesis and PlayStation 2. My father did. There was plenty of Saturdays where my father told me no to a game, drug me outside, we finna work on this truck, we finna work on this car, you finna cut this grass, you finna rake this grass. I didn't want to do that stuff when I was a kid. It served me right though for being a grown man. It taught me how to be responsible. When I needed to work on the car, I didn't have to worry about going to some auto shop because he put me in a position to learn how to work on a car, which then he led me to the dudes who had their own car shop. And next thing I know, behind my back, he's talking to the guy to let me work there so I can learn how to work on cars even further than what he taught me. My father did that. Which, from that guy, I learned how to break down the engine. I learned how to take apart trannies. I learned how to do a whole bunch of stuff with the car. And when things were wrong with my car, because it was the same type of car, I knew how to do it. But I wouldn't have had that had not my father been there and stopping me from playing the video game, dragging me outside when I didn't want to be out there, and learn how to do it. Which then became beneficial when I was married to my son's mother, and I would work on her car. Discipline. My father taught me how to be disciplined. I didn't learn that from my mother. And it is very important. Let these fathers do what they're going to do. Let them do what they're going to do. At some point, they actually liked you or loved you enough and procreated with you. Let the man do what he's going to do. He should. If he's any ounce of good in him, he should put that boy on the right path. He should. And there are some rotten apples in the bunch, unfortunately. But for the most part, that boy needs his father. With that being said, I don't want to keep going on too much longer. I could keep going, but of course, the video is long enough. Hit that like button, hit that share button, subscribe. Gladly appreciate it. Donation, you can make that joint to that description on the screen. Keep yourselves locked in, focused, carefree, peace within. And of course, be easy. I'm out.